This is lesson number 3, part 2. Why should coax connectors exposed to the weather be sealed against water intrusion? The answer is A, to prevent an increase in feedline loss. What electrical difference exists between the smaller RG58 and the larger RG8 coaxial cables? The answer is C. RG8 cable has less loss at a given frequency. Why is it important to have a low SWR in an antenna system that uses coaxial cable feedline? The answer is B. To allow the efficient transfer of power and reduce losses. What is the impedance of the most commonly used coax cable in typical amateur radio installations? The answer is B, 50 ohms. Why is coaxial cable used more often than any other feed line for amateur radio antenna systems? A. It is easy to use and requires few special installation considerations. Radio waves propagate from point A to point B via many mechanisms. We will be talking about 3 ways: line of sight, ground waves, and sky waves. If radio waves can travel straight from the transmitter to the receiver, that is called line of sight. There will be some attenuation of the signal as the radio wave travels. Line of sight is the primary propagation mode for VHF and UHF signals. Below 4 MHz, some radio waves will hug the Earth's surface. These are called ground waves, and they will travel beyond the range of line of sight. The ionosphere is composed of several ionized layers that act as an RF mirror to reflect certain frequencies back to Earth. Skywave propagation is responsible for most long-range over-the-horizon communication. Reflection depends on frequency and angle of incidence. The reflection of RF signals by the ionosphere is very strongly influenced by the presence of sunspots on the sun. With no sunspots, there is very little reflection by the ionosphere. There are several different layers to the ionosphere that come and go from day to night. This is why you can hear more radio stations on your car radio at night, because the ionosphere has moved higher. There is software that predicts propagation. It is very useful for trying to make contact with rare countries. Sunspot activity follows an 11-year cycle. I am happy to report that we are on the upslope from a sunspot minimum. Conditions are improving in the HF 3 to 30 MHz range. What is a beam antenna? The answer is C, an antenna that concentrates signals in one direction. Which of the following is true regarding vertical antennas? The answer is B, the electric field is perpendicular to the Earth. What is the disadvantage of the rubber duck antenna supplied with most handheld radio transceivers? A. It does not transmit or receive as efficiently as a full-sized antenna. What type of antennas are the quad, Yagi, and dish? The answer is C, directional antennas. What is the approximate length in inches of a quarter wavelength vertical antenna for 146 megahertz? Well, 300 divided by the frequency 146 equals about 2 meters. 39.37 inches times 2 meters equals about 80 inches. 1/4 of 80 inches equals 19 inches. The answer is C, 19 inches. What is the approximate length in inches of a 6 meter, 1/2 wavelength wire dipole antenna? 6 meters times 39.37 inches per meter equals approximately 236 inches. 236 times 1/2 equals 112 inches. The answer is C, 112. In which direction is the radiation strongest from a half-wave dipole antenna in free space? C, broadside to the antenna. What is meant by the gain of an antenna? C, the increase in signal strength in a specified direction when compared to a reference antenna. In the next lesson, we'll be talking about transmitters and receivers, station fundamentals, contact basics, band plans, and making a contact. Your homework assignment is to read Chapter 5, plus Section 6.1, 6.3, and 6.4 in preparation for the next lesson.